tonight, but we're going to really focus in on movements that the body should be able to do. And I highlight or asterisk put, a lot of emphasis on should be able to do, right? There's days and times where our body doesn't want to do these things that we ask of it. So then learning to navigate and respecting the responses that your body gives you, the communication that it gives you, and then realizing that it's this ebb and flow, this communication of how much can you ask of your body and what is it ready to give you, right? And then finding out, hey, is it worth pushing it, or do I need to scale back a little bit? And as you become more of an expert of these positions, of these things that we're asking of your body to do, then you can expect that as an expert, you probably have it available 70, 80% of the time, right? Meaning that, hey, there's going to be a time every now and again that you go to do it and the body's like, not right now, it's too painful. Now you have to learn how to modify that experience. So hopefully my camera is set up in a decent space. Let's see. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to first sit back with your hands behind you a little bit, with your hands extended, fingers pointed away. We're just going to rotate the leg nice and gently through the acetabulum, where that femur goes into the pelvis at. We're just rotating.
Nick, would you rather see me or just have it be my icon?
It's totally up to you.
Okay, it won't matter if you see me or not.
Just if you want feedback.
Well, it's hard to get the camera right.
And there is an audio that I want to play for the audience, because on February the 20th,
Which side? We're just going nice and gentle. So the rotating out is actually easier because gravity is actually assisting with that. And then when I rotate back in, which is the internal rotation, it requires more muscle control. But as I rotate the leg out, I also want to control it. Even though gravity is assisting it, now I want my muscles to slow down that rotation, where rotating it in, it requires more effort to keep it going. On the rotation out, it requires more energy and effort to slow it down. So these are just nice and gentle. I like to think of these like end ranges as electric fences, and I don't want to touch the electric fence. I want to get close, but I don't want to touch it, right? So we might have different sensitivities as we move through these areas. So
So you're doing both feet at the same time?
just one at a time.
Okay.
So here, I'll go back to that first leg, and I'm trying to lean back to open up this hip space. If I sit up over the top, which we do a lot for other exercises, but if I do that right now, I actually close down some of the motion that my hip is going to get. So I hold the in just a little bit, and then I control the outward rotation. And I'm going to do about 5 or 6 passes each side.
And the net result was that there are many more illnesses and deaths in the United States.
So we are now in, Eric, what is called mitigation. This widespread.
What I'm looking for here is, as well as that leg rotates in or as it rotates out, what is the rest of my body doing, especially as I get to those two extremes? We'll often notice that the body moves through other areas as a way of making it feel like we get more.
So are you insisting on straight knee from your body?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to maintain that straight knee and then not allowing anything else to move the leg that is moving. Because as I get to this internal rotation, my right side likes to move away, which makes it feel like it's going further that way. And as I go this way, everything wants to go with it as a feeling of making us feel like we do more. But we'd also want to kind of avoid chasing that. So now we're going to lie down. We're going to do some hip rotation stuff. So we're going to bring that leg up. And a lot of times we'll pull with a lot of effort, knee to the head, but we're just going to keep that leg there for now. We're going to rotate across and then rotate the foot out, which is hip internal. And you'll feel that tighten around that outside of that pocket. And we're just going back and forth. And I think about my seams of my pants being in that same line. I don't want the seams to change location. I want that thigh to move around the seam of my pants or in it. And again, what you're looking for is where does your body cramp? Do you get cramping? How easy is it for you to move? Do you feel like you get any speed bumps as you move across these two extremes?
January, they knew that there was going to be, illnesses in pockets across the United States. They didn't know how many.
Most likely will get more cramping
Now
when your foot is out. But when you bring the foot back across the body, if your foot is lower than the knee, you'll probably feel it more in the glute. The higher up the foot, you're going to feel it more in the quads, the thigh muscles. So here, you got to kind of determine where it is for you that you need to have your knee up. Like if I go up too high, it limits how much motion, rotation I get. So I'm going to keep my knee and thigh a little bit less than 90. So I get more motion at my hip.
Now to our White House correspondent, Yamiche Alcindor, for the latest. So, Yamiche, what more do
If
we
you get really good, you can start paying attention to not only what the leg and hip that is moving is doing, but you can pay attention to the rest of the leg, the other leg, your hip and pelvis. And again, what you're trying to do is only allow motion to happen in this active leg.
Social distancing guidelines, and the president just now had a remarkable press briefing that's still going on where he is suspending point by point his
Shake that out a little bit.
So also 5 to 6 passes on that one.
Exactly. It's just nice and smooth. Again, we're just trying to brush up, getting real close to that edge where it'd be your max, or where that electric fence is, where it'd be painful or tight or cramping, and then just easing out of it. So a lot of times I think of like, I start to hear static if I go into that area.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to come out of that static and get back into that clear signal. And that's the thing that's going to change from each exercise session. But the more that you can guide and respect what your body's giving to you before you reach that static or that pain, probably the happier and more satisfied you will be. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to do arm going across the body. So I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to my left hand and block my right arm. Still learning my left and right. Maybe by the time the coronavirus quarantine is over, I'll have it figured out. And then we're just going to relax. And so to relax, I'm going to take that active arm back down to the floor. And then I'm going to lift up and push across. And so I'll get a better view of that here in a second. So I'll do 2 on the right, I'll do 2 on my left, and then I'm going to relax, and we'll come back and do another one on each side. So here I'm pushing, I'm blocking, and I'm taking the arm across. If my hand wasn't there, my arm would still go across. Then I'm just relaxing, bringing that elbow down, and then back up.
That's right. There's been a move on the conservative right to talk about Dr. Anthony Fauci in a very criticizing way.
I'm trying to keep my elbow straight, and then I'm going to take it back down. We're going to go switch sides once again, do one. I'm thinking about bringing that arm across, keeping the elbow straight.
Thank you very much.
And then relax. One more with that left side going across. And here I can really play around with my shoulder. It was real easy for me to let that elbow shrug. So I'm going to think about keeping that elbow down. And I was getting a little bit of tightness through my chest muscle. So I'm going to actually block it a little bit further out. Because as my body started communicating to me is that, hey, that more extreme position, I was running into the electric fence. So now we're going to go face down. We're going to do some arm motions, and then we're going to do some hip motions. So we're going to do forehead to the back of the hand. Your arm is going to be along your side. We're going to lift up and hold. Trying to keep the elbow extended. Just nice and gentle. Think about, you might even do some like wrist extension or wrist flexion, as long as you can keep that elbow extended.
That we've made, Jenny, or if you actually think about it this way, just how dynamic this
Good side.
6 weeks ago,
And here we're doing palm down, thumb out.
we might be looking at a contested convention, that notion that was going to be
there's wrist positions. And so I would only do the wrist positions or maybe try it once or twice. If you have shoulder or wrist issues or wrist sensitivities, you might only do 1 or 2 passes of the wrist motion, knowing that that's going to take you to a more extreme. All right. Now we're going to do hip rotation, but face down. So we just did hip rotation when we were on your back, face up. Now we're going to do the same thing. So here we're going to take the right leg out to the side to the outer edge of the mat, and we're going to let the foot fall down. And so here now it's kind of the opposite where.
Nick, can you turn around, put your head the other side?
Yeah. And so here I'm taking the foot up or thigh out to the edge. I'm going to let it fall across, and I'm trying to prevent my pelvis from. I'm thinking about trying to keep my belt line or my waist of the pants.
Today, we can't just go back to business as usual. Basically acknowledging not only that
that foot kind of determine the area, but I'm trying to keep the thigh firmly on the floor. With that thigh lifting up.
But also really giving a nod to Bernie Sanders and his message of
if I can control and learn how to control 80% of my motion and get strong in the 80%, I'm going to be really good. If we're always trying to push to the 100 and always trying to get good there, I'm probably going to irritate something. So now we'll go to the other leg. We're going to bring that leg out to the side. We're going to let it fall across.
actually done it, and the idea that we're going to go back to sort of quote unquote normal seems really unlikely. And it also looks
going a little fast, so I have to probably slow down a little bit. So that's what these exercise sessions become. It's you're asking your body to do one thing, and then you get to see how good is it being able to maintain that tempo, that sequence. I think of it as like a dance routine, and it's like how good am I at maintaining that before I lose my attention and I start doing another dance, right?
Time around, Sanders didn't endorse Hillary Clinton until July. And then almost immediately after that, the first tranche of WikiLeaks came out. And
so we're going to look back over. That was really working that posterior part. When you were lifting your arms up, that was also working your lat and tricep. Now we're going to go work that stuff with a little bit more resistance. By bringing your feet out, we're going to lift your hips up. Squeeze those glutes, lifting up.
There we are.
So if you want, you can even push your arms down into the floor. Think about squeezing your shoulder blades back. Everything is pushing down into the floor, your feet, your arms, your back, your shoulders. Even your head, everything is thinking about shoving down as your hips go up, and then we'll just relax. Kind of march those feet out a little bit. Here we go. We're going to lift up once again. And the more that you shove everything down into the floor, the more you're going to work the back muscles, the triceps.
Pre-COVID-19 world, but because Donald Trump was not sitting president, different populations.
Your muscles create a stronger contraction, so you're going to get better blood flow change. So it's actually going to create a better environment for some of that natural healing character. The more we can get that nutrient exchange, the oxygen and everything that's been used, the metabolites, the next thing we knew that carbon dioxide goes out, nitrogen goes out, new oxygen and blood, water get a flow into that area, so it starts to heal and create the healing process.
Yeah, kind of a quick question. When you were prone and you were taking your palm towards the floor and arm up towards the ceiling, was that just, I lost track. Did you just do one round on each side, or did you go back and forth?
I did 2 each side and then went back.
Oh, to each side. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yep. And a good thing to do, and I might not be following the sequence exactly here, but a good thing that I like to do, especially when it's new, well, I guess all the time would really be the case. I like to do 2 on the right, 2 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 on the left.
Okay, yeah.
Just like get experience what it's like. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, that feels strange. And then I do it again. And that sensation that I thought was there disappears, or sometimes it repeats. And then it gives me a chance to go compare how it feels on that other side. And then I'm like, oh, well, that feels different. And then I get a good chance, like, is it? Because by the time I go back to the right, it's like, well, maybe it wasn't as different as I perceived it to be.
Yeah. Thanks.
So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do a little rotation. So we're gonna rotate the foot outward. So here, often I'll do the tibial internal rotation, but today we're gonna do the external, where we're just holding the foot out. It's like wiping the foot across the floor, and it's the floor is the windshield. My foot is the windshield wiper. I'm just trying to rotate the toes out, pushing the toes down so I can add a little bit more force of pushing it down. That's actually going to work some of the peroneal muscles just a little bit more. So as I rotate out, and once I get to that extreme, I'm not only thinking about pushing out, but also down. And then relax. Okay, we'll go to the right side. So I'm rotating out. I'm also pushing down.
His approval rating is now basically back to where it's always been. Orders remain as the
So it's okay to go through that full range. You can go in both directions, but we're putting more force and holding it longer with the rotation out and the pushing down. And then relax. Okay, we'll go back to the left. I'm going to rotate out, push down. So I get to work on my sequencing skills. And then relax. Okay, we'll go back to the right. Because earlier I said, let's start on the right and I'll go on the left. And here I am going left to right. My choreography skills could improve.
Well,
This is only the 4th week in quarantine. You know, you got to give me time.
you're doing excellent, excellent.
All right.
When you do it opposite, it's more natural for us. If you start on your left, but we do our right.
See, and KL knows that as it being a Group X instructor and everything. So what's interesting is right now, like I'm moving my right leg. Does that look like my left or my right?
Well, no, it is your right, but
Because there are the reason I ask, because some camera angles that people use, it
flips it.
weird.
Yeah, I don't know when that happens, what that is.
I'm trying to avoid that. So
But yeah, it's not flipping the image. It's just that as human beings, we tend to mirror.
yeah,
And so if you're facing us and you're moving your right, for us to mirror to match that, we'd be moving our left. But yeah, so it's not flipping. Like when you refer to right and left, it is that.
yeah. But there is a camera view though, also with like Zoom and Facebook Live and everything, that when you say you're right, it'll look like the left. But it's nice that now when I'm doing my right, it actually it looks like my right, because there's another camera setup that even if I'm doing my right and I say my right, it appears in the video as of my left.
Oh, that's weird.
If that makes sense. It's a weird thing. I mean, like my lettering should show up left to right, and sometimes those camera angles show up and it's the words.
Oh, okay.
You're still reading it left to right, which is, to me, I'm like,
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know why that happens.
information overload, or throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
But so what we're going to do to finish, we're going to do a nice little hip flexion exercise, which is one that we often start in, but today we did a lot more rotation before we got here. So, the muscles of the hip have better blood flow.
He literally got a notepad and I started a journal and I wrote down.
Pulling that leg up, same side hand block.
Yes, he was short.
And drop.
My
Leaving a small space in my back.
it hurts because it caused me to be a little behind on my own personal bills. But I found my purpose. And purpose. This is all out of my pocket. I live in
Switch legs.
my community, and my community was
And think about what that other leg that's straight, what is it doing? Is it rotating? Is it staying
down.
outward?
Go.
What I want to do is try to maintain neutral. My tendency is to let the leg that is straight and relaxing, it likes to rotate outward.
Mhm.
And what I found is that I get better core engagement and adductor engagement if I rotate that leg inward, almost to neutral. Because I don't have a ton of rotation, but the just getting my kneecap to where it points directly up is a lot of work for me to maintain. So then we'll switch legs.
That's the time to all my customers that come in here.
And it's real easy for the side that you work on to let that, even though the leg is up, the pelvis likes to drop. So really need to maintain that.
When we refer to Japan's prime minister, Shinzo Abe, as its president.
Which even at that level makes the abdominals.
Tonight I'm getting work on one, and again, right here tomorrow with
Here, my body doesn't even want to do it as much. It's easier for me to maintain neutral on this side, where it's harder to let it just kind of fall out. So that becomes another point of information. And relax. So what I was describing there is my right side, I actually have both options. On my left side, the letting it rotate the other way is not really available. So that will become, instead of trying to fix it in that same exercise, I said, well, that's not the point of this exercise, but knowing that that is a thing that exists, I want to find another exercise that challenges that, right? Typically we find it in the moment of that exercise and like, oh, that's different. My left side doesn't have both options available. And what we tend to do, in my experience, is that we try to fix it in the moment in that exercise as opposed to say, no, the goal of that exercise was to not let it rotate, but because I don't have both options, now I need to find a different exercise to go challenge that. So, all right, thank you so much. Let me know if you have questions or anything on the exercise we've done.
All right, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
All
Thank
right. Bye, everybody.
Maybe tomorrow
Bye.
at 8:30. I know it's a struggle for people to get up, but I will be here. So,
Right. Bye.
all right. Enjoy your evening.
Thanks, you too.
All right.